arrived, I would like to convene this meeting of the South Strabane Township Board of Supervisors. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Thank you for attending. We have with us tonight all 5 supervisors, our township manager, our solicitor, our police chief, our fire chief, our engineer, and other celebrities to be named later. We will now go to public comment. I would remind everybody that you are allotted a maximum of 3 minutes of decorous comment. And who would like to address the board? Anybody? Ma'am, come forward, please, and state your name and address and all that stuff.
Hi, Linda Roth, 5 Robin Drive. Just wanted to show some of these photos that I took of United Rental on Manifold Road. If there's something that could be done about that. I mean, it's not looking like a rental unit anymore. It's starting to look like a rubbish yard. I mean, as you can see the photos there, when people leave the wellness center, that's the first thing they see. And I think we all became eye blind to that, because that is not something that was like before. And now you drive past it, you don't even notice it's there. It's a mess. The fence is coming down. There's garbage all over there. I mean, as you can look at the mailbox, it's just a total disarray. I don't know if that can be.
Yes, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We'll have our code enforcement officials take a look at it first thing.
All right, appreciate it. Here's a
Yeah.
photo of the fly.
Can we hang on to these pictures?
Yes, they're yours.
Thank
Okay.
you. Brandon, you got that? You got that. Thank you. Anyone else approaching the board? Oh, I can see her.
That's all right. Judy Solly, Marcia D, 6 Foxtrot. I have a question. I noticed that we've been having a lot more special meetings. I don't know the purpose of them. Why
Such
they're-
as,
Huh?
such as,
This last, like 3 weeks ago, we had a special meeting. It
Was that the
wasn't like the 4th.
is that the administrative meeting?
Oh, that was the special non-legislative.
Yeah.
Okay,
The Board of Supervisors, in addition to having regularly scheduled meetings, scheduled, I believe, for what they're called non-legislative meetings. It's an opportunity for us to sit and discuss and plan the future of the township. So they're not secret meetings or they're not dirty dealings. They are planned
yeah,
administrative
there was
sessions.
an agenda and people came to it.
Right.
But they just weren't.
But that's
like
what they are. You
public.
asked me what they
Okay.
were. That's what they
Can
are.
you vote at one of those?
No.
Okay, that's what I needed. to know.
Okay,
I
yeah,
just wasn't-
they're chat discussions amongst the supervisors, so we can. They're informal, so we
Okay.
can say, well,
They
what,
just seem to crop up pretty like I
yeah,
didn't know.
quarterly.
Yeah, well, no, I didn't know about
Well, the one
this.
in May was canceled. And then Chief Kramer had 2 things that he needed the board to look at tonight. And
Okay.
so we chose to have a special unscheduled one, so we had to schedule it up.
Do you put it in the newspaper or anything?
did.
Like, I didn't find out till it was like 2 days.
Yeah, we did.
It is in the newspaper, those special ones?
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Alrighty, anyone else? Time's up, Judy.
Oh, man.
Bye now.
Okay, Judy, you can get this last seconds of mine.
Thank
You,
you.
you'll do time. Yeah.
I'm going to recommend this board start doing their own research and quit relying on the lies and false statements made to them. The residents of this township have become the gatekeepers, and that's your job, not ours. To know, the right to know several residents have asked for have been very telling, and on several occasions provided proof that the manager of the township and members of the staff have either misled this board or are incompetent to a degree that needs action. For some reason, people who continue to prove over and over they have no real knowledge, expertise, or comprehension of the township ordinances are making decisions. Our manager decided he would create a meeting for the word clinic in his own view and cost a couple thousands of dollars when they went to sell their building on Barry Road because Brandon was worried about traffic. But there's no problem with the transit authority coming. He didn't consult anyone because the solicitor, Mike, at that time realized that there was a problem with it and then he fixed it. This is what people that work for the township do. They decide they know better, they have no background or knowledge, and by the manager's own admission, they pick and choose at the last meeting that was at the beginning of June. That's illegal. The issue of Floral Hill Drive is still going on, and the owner didn't stop, by the way. He added an electric pole that he used with concrete. And he has been working on the roof for 2 weeks on what your employees are calling a small structure. It's taken over 2 weeks and he's still working on it. No one has been given the supposed plan that there is through right to knows or when asking at the township building. We are being denied, which is going to be reported to the state under the law. The only thing we have seen is a house needing a 15-foot variance from the April plan, which means it needs to go to the zoning hearing board. Brandon also lied when he said they were not aware there was no house on this property, and when they let them build a shed illegally. As a matter of fact, in an email from 2019, it shows him asking Scott Heckman to be aware of that specific property, and he feels that property requires special circumstances and to be on the lookout. He was told by the zoning board in 2017 it did not. Only Brandon is saying this. They have been on the lookout for this property since 2019, actually 2017, when someone else wanted to put too big of a house on it too. No one is against anyone building something there as long as it fits and it's all done right. If not, you are opening yourselves up for lawsuits and others not having to follow the ordinances. Either your staff is not giving residents asking for the information, or they legally need, or they are lying. There's no other answer. We're either not getting what we're supposed to get, or they're lying. Which is it? And the alternate engineer for this township did the drawing. How did he not know what the ordinance was? 40-foot setback, they need 15 feet variance. That's huge. At the planners meeting this month, at minute 34, Brandon tells the planners that he has been looking into this stuff and that this township has always had a 40-foot setback, and that seems to be what we do here. So then why are they still trying to give one person a special exemption by almost half? We can talk about now let's talk about how code enforcement also decided up in Pancake that the dog grooming business was a hobby. Or how right after I came down to this township and asked questions, I was targeted. My plates were illegally run by your code enforcement. I've been told by everyone that it is illegal. My inspection wasn't up, but at 8 a.m. Troy Lucas ran my plates. It was a mistake that we forgot to do the registration. But the point is that why did he run my plates? I can show you pictures of a car in an alley that other residents have sent me and have reported to them, and they've done nothing. My plates were illegally run. I'm asking you to consult your solicitor on this and take disciplinary action. But only because it was illegal. I was clear, not only because it was illegal, I was clearly targeted. And my final remarks, and also, I'm not gonna get to Charlene's thing. Hopefully everybody listens to that. But I also want to let this township know that the township, due to what happened to me and me being targeted, South Strabane is no longer allowed on my property. I do not want the code enforcement, the police, or anyone stepping on our property after what would happen because I went down and asked for something that I was allowed to see and was denied anyway. Sorry, that's it. I know. Sorry. Oh.
Thank you. All right then, ma'am.
Mine's 4 minutes.
4?
4 minutes.
You got 3. Consolidate.
Can't.
Can't. Oh, boy.
Charlene Scavone, 85 Pine Valley Road. It's been 16 long, torturous years having our property connected to the Meadows Landing site. It was commercial for 15 years with only 3 pads developed. According to Mr. Kessler's sign on Route 19, it's been pad ready for 16 years. Why has no one come in? Now he's changed it to residential. Needed a hurry up approval only to ask for a year extension, which you granted with conditions. Those being a signed developers agreement, all DEP conservation approvals, and a performance bond. Nothing. There's been no one on this site to make any effort to comply with these conditions. Only Ed Major's cows and Ed Cutting's Meadows Landing's field for hay. No effort to clear up the technical deficiencies on this site. No geotechs for core borings for sewage as required for placement of the lines. No surveyors for the proposed lots, nothing. I phoned Aileen Evans at DEP yesterday. She said there's absolutely nothing going on with all the deficiencies. July 10th was conservation's deadline to have everything in and approved. It's not happened. How can Hal Kessler put up a performance bond when his site is in need of some very important corrections according to DEP, mainly the utilities? How can Hal Kessler put up 110% securities for all stormwater facilities as well as inspection fees and maintenance fund as required under your stormwater management? This is separate from the performance bond. Look it up under Saldo 109. We have given Hal Kessler a year to complete this undertaking. It's apparent he's not capable of this. Burkett Manor is well on its way. No special favors, just business. Under no circumstances whatsoever should this board give another favor to this developer. You have no idea how long to extend it, if you did, because you have no idea how long the extensive list of deficiencies is going to take. So it would be easier to ask for the $9,947 that he owes our township from his delinquent escrow account and tell Mr. Kessler to come back when he's ready and quit wasting everyone's time and money. Did any board members check to see if that borrowed money from the escrow was ever put back in the general fund? DEP noted that it's not standard practice to go over a plan with such scrutiny, but due to the past issues of this site, this is what they thought was best. Planning said at their last meeting that the builder for Meadows Landing took a walk and everything they went through for what? Mr. Murphy, you said at the same meeting that this is your township, and if you don't want to bend for developers, then you shouldn't have to. Maybe this would be a real good place to start. Are you aware the Meadows Landing's Gerard Cipriani, as well as Real Estate Interest LLC treasurer, has been removed from the Meadows Landing Associates LP since April 2022? Now KGA Partners LLC is in with KGA Real Estate Interests. All Hal Kessler has done for 16 years is ask for favor after favor, starting with Meadows Landing's outpatient building, which was a year late, but yet he asked for sewage and he gave it to him anyway. Here's a list of comments that Hal Kessler has made to us, other residents, as well as the board. Scavotti's house does not conform to our site. When Mr. Stickler, he told him we were here first, 108 years. It's my duty to take care of the trees that encroach on the neighboring properties. He hasn't done nothing. I have a tree that I've asked Brandon to look into. It's gonna hurt somebody and it's leaning over my property and nothing's been done. It's huge. And I'd appreciate it if someone would tell him to get it off. You can't even enjoy my property. It's my duty to take care of the encroaching finance properties. Oh, believe me, that cyclone fence was not put up for trespass. That would be the fence that's so close to my porch that I could take my railing off so I could get around my house. Also, the one that, another comment. I'm gonna come down and poison all the vegetation on that fence that's encroaching on your property, right next to our water well. So Brandon, when you told him you never knew about our water well, you were well aware we had the water well. So don't act like you didn't. We have to maintain the fence ourselves for a fence that serves no purpose. If Mrs. Scavatti is going to be at the final approval meeting regurgitating untruths, then I'll just stay home. I want everything unconditional for my approval. These are all comments that are
Are
documented.
you about done?
No, almost one more paragraph. So it's safe to say that everything he said did not happen and was never intended to. As far as our township's financial situation, this board sits up here approving bills, so you either don't know what you're approving or they've changed since you approved them. Mr. Stanek, I want you to know that I have a complaint prepared just for you that I will be filing. You have put so much stress, anxiety, anger, fear, mental torture on my husband and I, as well as other residents, who look up to you
Ma'am,
and required as a municipal manager.
your time is up. Thank
All you
you.
have done is work for developers.
Ma'am,
at any
your time
cost
is up.
to the residents.
Thank you. Please be seated.
So I'd appreciate it if you keep all those torturous comments in mind.
We certainly will. Anyone else wish to speak? Sir?
Williams Ladders, 274 Hill. I just want to say about the last meeting, we agreed upon that shed only being allowed the roof worked on. He's still continuing to work there every other day. And even on Sundays, since it's new construction, he's not allowed to work at all, any construction on Sundays, since it's new construction. The other thing is, with his plans, as Judy already touched on, the setback in South Strabane is 40 feet. Always has been. Everyone in that neighborhood applies to the 40 feet setback. The plans listing has him having a 25-foot setback on that house. 15 feet is a huge, huge space to closer to the road. then I'm also concerned about with him being further ahead of me and he's slightly uphill from me, all the rainwater soaking off his house coming down against my foundation. And,
Let me ask you a question. You're saying he's still working on that?
yes,
shed?
yes,
Didn't we issue a cease and desist
yeah,
on it?
yes. I even got the email saying he understands the township's, position on this. So he's continuing to work on it.
What's he doing on the shed?
He's just putting extra reinforcements, the gutters, he's staining it, it looks like, some kind of stain, I guess. So, other than the roof, he's was told not to really touch it whatsoever.
Did he put walls up or just, is there just a roof?
He's like saran wrapped it, then yesterday he put up like
I think
heavy duty
plastic.
tarps. So like, I don't know, some tarps you would put like a lean-to or something, he's like stapled around his structure now. So it's really hard to describe without really looking at it. So, but yeah, he saran wrapped it and put these tarps up. Any other questions? I'm sorry. Okay, so all I ask is just, I just want the ordinances to be followed in South Strabane. That's all I'm asking. So with that setback he's gonna need, I just want this to go through the proper channels and go to zoning like it should.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ma'am?
Hi, I'm Meryl Gabriel. I also live across the street from this proposed house. The question I had is, I don't believe that we should make the exception for the setback to change. And a few years ago, Daryl Price had bought that property, and he came before you guys and asked to do the same thing, and you said no. And I believe you said that. And if you're gonna not do it for one person, you need to not do it for another person. It's just not right. And again, the rest of the neighborhood all follow the same restrictions. And I'm sorry that the lot is not that large of a lot for them to build the house that they want on it, but they need the size of the lot going into it. And I would love for them to build a house that's appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? Ma'am?
Ladies at Cadbury Road, I just have a short comment, and it's addressing letter L under new business. I want to thank Mr. Stanek for the service he did for the township and commission last year.
Thank you, Laney. Other comments? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dale Flowers, 2210 Shawnee Drive. Mine won't have anything to do with Floral Hill Drive, I promise, but I do
No.
have a question on setbacks. Is there anywhere written in the ordinance what a side and rear setback is in feet? Because I've gone to look at the zoning board meeting minutes, people have asked for variances, but they never asked for variance of how many feet from what exists.
Okay.
And I emailed Scott Heckman this morning, and I never got an answer back.
Brandon, can we get that for him?
Sure, and I've emailed you and explained the fences or
But I've
not,
never
fences.
seen, but I've never
Fences
seen
have
the
special yard requirements, so they
Right.
don't necessarily abide by setbacks because they're fences. Although fences are accessory structures, other accessory structures don't have the special yard requirements of fences.
Where's the special yard requirement?
I forwarded that to you.
Okay.
That was in, that's the PDF I forwarded,
Okay, so what are the setbacks?
where the setbacks for what,
Amount, rear and side,
for,
anything, to build something,
yeah, there are different setbacks throughout the different districts
and where are they listed?
in the zoning code.
Yeah, I've read thousands of times, and I can't find a list. of-
Come up tomorrow, I'll show you,
Okay.
I'll show you
Well,
the code.
maybe not tomorrow, maybe Thursday.
Yeah, just come
Okay.
up, I'll show you. the
Okay,
code.
great, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? It's all but unanimous.
What's your name?
Yes.
In the,
Anyone else?
Are we gonna be allowed to address any of this new business? Or was that supposed to be done?
It depends on, if it's listed as a hearing, you will be. If it's just regular business, no. So if it's regular business, you need to get it out of your system early.
It's under new business, under matters and everything.
Which one? E. All right, if you have something to say on that, I would say it now,
Say it
because
now.
that's not going to be open to public comment.
I also, Linda Rumbaugh, I also agree with Charlene about some of the things that she was saying. That DEP report is actually terrible. I looked at like number 82, they talk about regulated water. And that looks really bad, but they're saying that there's been a stream down there since Chief Catfish had that property over there way back in the 1700s. And that little stream, or creek, you know, where you're from, however you say it, has been there forever. And they're talking about regulated water. There's going to be all kind of erosion and dirt from the coal there, because I was a coal company back there, and all that coal is going to go into that regulated water, lose that stream there. So I think that should be addressed. And if it's not addressed, and you do allow them to go through with this, is the township going to get sued over that? Like, are we going to be liable for them doing something to that stream that's down there? And then number 71 on there, they talk about seeding, but there's no specification. They even asked for that. Number 88, the stormwater discharge. It's not specified. It just says various locations. Various locations could be one area, two areas, 2 acres of that's going to be discharged water. I mean, they tell us nothing. And they keep saying, I want longer time. I need longer. I need more time. I want to extend when I can start working on there. Well, I could just imagine, would you grant me an extension if I said, I don't want to pay my taxes? Do I get an extension if I say I'm not going to pay my township taxes? If I say, well, and I go to you and you give me a long list of all things, which I have the report right here, that you give me 191 ways for me to save money so I can pay my taxes. And I go to Laura when it comes time for my taxes to be due. And I'd say, well, Laura, I didn't follow any of these 191 things. Can I have another extension? I mean, you would look at me like I was crazy. These people do not need another extension. They need to be told down. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments before the board? Seeing none, we move on. Next item would be the approval of the payroll for the periods May 14 through May 27, May 28 through June 3rd, and bills for the period May 20 through.
You skipped the.
That's all right, go ahead. We'll
But
do
finish this and
then
we'll go back.
To the 1 minute. That's what we can do this all. Go ahead.
I
Finish
had
that.
it crossed off. Through June 23rd, 2023 is our motion.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved. Seconded, discussion. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. We go back to item number 4, meeting minutes from regular meeting of May 23rd, 2023. Is there a motion? Move to
Second.
approve, second. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. We move to number 6. There was an executive session this evening prior to the meeting to discuss the agenda and litigation, et cetera. Township reports. The Board of Supervisors allocates a period of time for comments regarding stormwater. Any person wishing to address the supervisors is asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Ma'am.
Scavati, 85 Pine Mountain Road. First of all, Mr. Burns, I appreciate if you didn't make light of the stormwater, because I've noticed on Zoom a couple times, you've made little funnies like forever hold your peace, it's our favorite. Stormwater is a very powerful and destructive force of nature. Maybe if your home or property was below a 400-foot stormwater basin that's not been maintained in 5 years and not repaired as required, from an inspection done by Kevin Trey in November of 2022. An email was sent to Mr. Kessler telling him that a tree is on the embankment. That, by the way, he went to Geotech to look into this basin embankment because swathing has occurred twice and reported to the developer both times. The street can cause piping through this already in question embankment, which was told by Kevin Craig. Hal Kessler said in November he'd get right on it. Nothing's been done to correct this and no follow-up to see why. This basin holds and releases thousands of gallons of water, but for some reason, for our land use appeal, Mike Ivino had the impression that this basin is not currently being used. It's just a meadow. I wonder where he received this information. The negligence from this board not to enforce maintenance on the Meadows Landing basins, all of them, as required under the operations and maintenance agreements signed by Hal Kessler of this township. It's unbelievable. When the township has the authority to report him as a nuisance, or the township can do it themselves and send him the bill. You choose to ignore it no matter how many documented times I've asked you to enforce your laws, allowing a possible catastrophic situation to occur, not only for us, but others as well, who will be in the path of the destruction. This board has done nothing to give Hal Kessler special exceptions to the rules, favor upon favor. Core borings that were submitted to the DEP for Meadows Landing's new PRD was falsely labeled this basin by putting on new dates on the same old failed core borings from 2012. Failed by meaning the infiltration rate for 2 days was absolutely zero. Standing to Mike Sharif as well as this board, old and new, they all knew about these failed borings. You don't have to take my word for it because DEP caught this as well in their deficiency letters. The old core borings are on the plan with new miraculous infiltration rates. Something does not add up there. Why would Kevin Cray and Scott Broom not have caught this? As-built post-construction inspection done by Kevin Cray in 2019, this basin was done incorrectly. Wrong size orifice holes, wrong size under drains. Gateway's engineer from the commercial site had the wrong outlet pipe. I brought this up at the public meeting, but it fell on deaf ears. Why do we pay KLH for these unexcusable work? DEP told me if what I'm claiming is true, and I have it all documented, papers, copied, she said, sue the township engineer and sue the developer's engineer because that is not acceptable. The deficiency letter given to this board and township managers clearly states that there are pipes named tow drains that we are in court with, that this board, the township manager, KLH, they all know it exists, yet not put on the new PRD as required. The deficiency letter also states that the infiltration rates are not correct.
Thank you, ma'am.
I want to say one thing.
No, we're done now.
You never wish
I
harm
thank
on
you.
anyone, but when someone is held accountable for their actions, the harm they put on themselves is on
Ma'am.
them, not you.
Being rude.
No, I'm not being rude.
Yes, you are. Trust me, I know rude.
Oh,
You nailed it.
thank you.
All right, we move on. The township, oh, I'm sorry. Are there other comments under the MS4 report? Seeing none, we move on. Township manager, Mr. Stanek.
Now we have a beautification, property beautification awards that are due on July 17th. Please submit them here. Applications are available online, and I think we have still a couple back there. And also my manager's report and secretary's report that's submitted for the board.
Thank you. Secretary, treasurer, that covers.
Yeah.
Same. Mr. Murphy.
Russ, since you're, you have on the budget, like profit and loss, there's $7,344 for part-time person. Do we have a part-time person?
That would be the pavilion.
So he's already over budget by $3,244. That's what the budget.
Would that be the cleaning lady?
That would be our custodian. So that might be, we'll have to double check because that custodian cost is divided up amongst the facilities. So if they're over, maybe
Okay, I
it's,
just didn't, I just said part-time, so I didn't think you had a part-time.
yeah, just the public works portion of the custodian.
So if they're cleaning pavilions, they should probably go in the park and rec. But not in
We can,
public works.
we can switch that up.
I missed going, but well, all these car washes come in. I saw Drew, we're still paying a car wash company like $250. Did they say they would wash our cars for free, our police cars?
I think that's what they've sort of hinted to us. I don't
Are
know
we,
if
like,
you had any more
right,
conversation.
We ask one of them if they'll do it or
We
not.
have been engaging in services of the company out of the township since the new ones have moved in. I've been trying to get in contact with fleet services side with the one up here, and of course we have the other two under construction now. All the other ones we reached out to didn't man out for us, the car dealers and et cetera.
Right, but I'm saying the three new, two of them we asked and they said, yeah, they would. So have you approached them or?
I have approached the one that's operating currently, and I'm still waiting on a response.
Okay.
I've reached out 3 or 4 times. And the other two that are not operational yet, I have not.
You have
reached out.
not reached out, but they're not up and running. My other question on the profit and loss, Marie, I guess the police pension that we paid late, why is it not on the profit and loss for this year? Where, like neither is the fire.
They were on the books for last year,
Yeah, but they were paid this year.
but they were paid this year, but they're still showing up as on the books for last year, so. That's what the auditor had explained that to me, that because they were put in, they were counted as a cost last year, even though we paid them this year.
Okay, I'm not an accountant, so I'll stay away from that one, but I just thought it's paid this year, it goes in this year. That was it, thank you.
Alrighty. Township solicitor,
Just been involved with some litigation, some other township issues, and that's it.
township engineer.
We have 2 items that we've been discussing, the MS4 ordinance updates according to the DEP template document, as well as the work on Berry Road, so.
All right, at this time, I would entertain a motion to amend the agenda to move item 9A to this point in the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Those in favor? Say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 9A is a report from the auditor. Cipher and Company, if you would come forward and make your presentation, please.
Supervisors, thank you for moving that to the agenda. I really appreciate it. We passed out the formal copies of the audit report, the management letter. The presentation is on the screen, what the supervisors have in front of them, that is for benefit of the public. We'll be using this to talk with you tonight. We'll start with the next page, page 2. We're here because the township code calls for an annual audit of the financial statements. In this case, it's the year ended December 31st, 2022. The financials are prepared on a modified cap basis of accounting, which is an appropriate basis for a township of our size. The important thing for the supervisors to keep in mind that the financial statements are the responsibility of the township management. Our responsibility is to use U.S. generally accepted auditing standards. We conduct an audit of the financial statements. The conclusion is to tell you whether the statements represent where you were at December 31st and how you got there. If you look at the bottom of page 2, the opinion is unmodified, exactly what the supervisors should expect to see. Anything less is unacceptable. The first about financial statements is the balance sheet. Balance sheets are a snapshot in time. In this case, 12/31/22. In the general fund at that point, we have current assets of $1,293,000. $1,049,000 of that was cash and equivalents, meaning money in the bank. Some investments, CDs and so forth, $220,000. Small amount of money due from other funds, $24,000. Your current liabilities at that point, $577,000, and to Mr. Lucas's question earlier, the pension payable is listed as a payable on this balance sheet. The reason for that, the money was due at 12/31. It also included legally obligated state funds that were due at 12/31. So we felt that it would be appropriate to accrue those so that the
$1,293,000 asset, minus the payable, would give you a more accurate fund balance, a more reflective fund balance for the general fund. 716,000 at the end of the year. The other three funds that we have, liquid fuel, 68,000, almost 69,000. There's a drug investigation fund, 82,616. Small amount of money in capital projects. We're here to talk about fund balance a lot. It's three things to the township. One is for working capital. If you don't have enough money in the bank, fund balance at the end of the year, paying the bills in January and February can get a little difficult. Some townships and boroughs will supplement that with a revenue anticipation note. It's generally better to have your own money in the bank. It's your contingency fund. If something goes wrong, a flood, a road collapse, some other catastrophe, you need money sitting there, and all of that runs a fund balance at home. If you want to do house, whatever, if you think something might go wrong, you save for that. And that's the third thing the fund balance does to the township. Gives the supervisors the ability to do the most important job they have, which is the ability to plan for tomorrow. Got money in the bank, it's a really difficult thing to do. We'll take a history lesson on the next page, page 5. What you can see here, this is that general fund balance that we're talking about. A little bit of a roller coaster ride. It goes up, then it comes back down, goes back up again. The last couple of years, it's gone down. 2022 represented a recovery, in large part because we received a significant amount of money through the federal government due to COVID. And some of that money is still remaining in the township's coffers at the end of the year. Question comes up all the time, why and how much should the fund balance be? Well, we can't tell you. There's only 5 people in this room with the right answer to that question. And they get to raise their own taxes as well as everybody else's. But the point is, we can make some recommendations. The yellow color that you see on the left, that's the fund balance, 716,000 at the end of the year. Minimum fund balance for a township outside, 10% of the budget for 2023. 15% would be better, 20 would be ideal. You can see we're slightly above the recommended 10% fund balance level. And this is something that is a decision that is made during the budget process. We encourage you to put the money aside so that you have the fund balance to do those 3 things that we looked at on the previous page. How did we get to this point? Last year, the general fund revenues and other financial sources, almost $7.2 million. We spent less than that last year. That fund balance did go up 132,000. When we passed the budget, we ended up bringing in about $1 million more than we thought we would. Largest variances, the COVID ARPA funding, Act 13, we never know what we're going to get there. And then the budget for earned income tax, what all of you pay in the form of a 0.5% to the township, 0.5% to the school district, that did much better than anticipated. With respect to the expenditure budget, we spent $72,000 more than we thought we would. If you think about this, folks, $72,000 on a $7 million budget, very small percentage. That's hitting us pretty much on the nose. There were some variances. We were under budget on risk management, over budget on refund of prior year revenue, not tax increment district refund that we have to get in. Page 8, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. The red color is the budget. The yellow mustard color is the actual for 22. What you can see, real estate tax came in, this is the far left side of the chart, a little bit under budget. We've seen that in almost every municipality and school district that we do. Very unusual situation, could be related to COVID, lingering effects that that could be the portender of a recession coming, who knows? But it's not a lot of a difference, but it is weird that we noticed it almost everywhere we look. We mentioned wage tax did much better than the budget. The other significant, almost all the way to the end, 3 bars in the end, what you see there is that governmental revenue related to COVID came in way above what we could possibly have anticipated. Expenditures, similar picture on the next page, page 9. General government is that right on target. Public safety, we spent a bit more than we thought we would. And then the employee, flip it, there you go. The very last thing is the employee benefits, insurance, and other miscellaneous actually came in under what we thought. The next chart is revenues compared to the previous year. And what you can see is almost all revenue, except for local and neighboring taxes, wage tax again, came in about where we were a year ago, and the intergovernmental revenue did better than a year ago. Page 11, that is the expenditure look. General government cost us a bit more than a year ago. Public safety cost a good bit more than before. Actually spent a bit less on streets and highways through the general fund, and employee benefits, insurance, and so forth were above the 21 level. Debt service was below what we spent a year ago. Now, when we take a look at the next page, this is a public safety pie chart. Sometimes it's a little hard to read, but what we've seen here, we go from noon to just about 7 o'clock. The biggest piece of the pie is the police department wages and benefits, $1,774,000. Fire department follows from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, 798,000. All the other variances, or not variances, but expenditures, insurance was 60, contributions 73,000, supplies and administrative for $250,000, and we did buy some equipment for $239,000. Page 13, similar look, but this is employee benefit expense, mainly health insurance. We go backwards around the clock from midnight to 4 a.m. The biggest piece of the chart represents Medicare, unemployment, workman's comp, the pension expense, $1,064,000. Public safety health insurance, $264,000. Fire department health insurance, $124,000. Public works health insurance, $107,000. These are big expenditures similar to almost any business that you would look at. We go to page 14. The other big place we spend money, besides keeping people safe, is the streets and highways that we drive on. Expenditures here, the biggest part of the pie chart, public work wages and employee benefits, $575,000. Road construction is the pie running from about 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, almost 8 there. What you see, $340,000. Repairs and maintenance, $202,000. That didn't have a bad winter, only 4,600 in cinders, which is kind of funny, but I think we probably did spend more than that, probably owed to supplies. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the management letter. This is a letter that gives us as the auditors the opportunity to give concluding comments on the audit. We've already talked about fund balance. Can't stress how important it is to have money in the bank. And I'll say it one more time, we all run our own fund balance. It's important to have money in the bank. It makes life very difficult if you don't have that. Pension investments, this is an ongoing problem with PMRF or some of our pension funding. State retirement boards can't seem to produce financial statements. So everything's up through 21. We don't have 22 yet. bookkeeping matters or a number of those. I wasn't gonna go into a great deal of detail here. But supervisors, this is all talked about in the management letter, which you have a copy of, even before the meeting. Regulatory matters, every year the state changes the bidding requirements, raises them for inflation. That's disclosed in the management letter. Another mention is that certain state bidding programs, Coast Guard, kept them in some instances, are not acceptable for federal expenditures. You have to do your own bidding. Risk management, supervisors, this is the job that's most important. That you protect what the township has, you spend it properly, and at the end of the day, you can tell somebody what you did. That you have an audit, an unmodified opinion is evidence of that. So that job, that most important thing you do, protecting the township, this is financial evidence that you've done that. The last thing that we would like to find, the township manager understands the leaving. Look for the new people to follow you, but the audit does go smoothly. We're pleased with the effort put forth by the staff here. And lastly, thanks to the board of supervisors. We appreciate the opportunity to be auditors. If you have any questions, we're here to answer them. We can come back later if you'd like to have a longer stint with the auditors. But thanks all very much.
Thank you, Steve. We actually do want you and maybe your staff to come back. We want to meet with the supervisors and our fiscal people to talk about your recommendations, and but more of a chat than anything formal, and so we'll set that up.
We'd be glad to come back.
In the meantime, do any of my colleagues have any questions for the auditor? Thank you very much.
Thanks. Have a good evening.
My name's Lily, I'm part of the fire department.
You are welcome. Could we have a motion to receive the audit,
I'll
please?
make that motion. I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Seeing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. The motion carries. We now go back on the agenda to unfinished business 8A. It's my understanding that we're going to leave that on the table unless there is any action to the contrary. Seeing none, we move to 8B, which is a motion approving a final collective bargaining agreement between South Strabane Township and the South Strabane Police Department Wage and Policy Unit, effective January 1, 2023 through December 31, 2027. That motion is on the table. A motion to remove it from the table is in order.
So moved.
Mr. Weber, second.
Second.
Mr. Murphy, discussion. Seeing none, those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries, so ordered. Yes, indeed. The next item on the agenda is 8C. This is a motion approving an employment.
We have to vote on that motion.
We have to vote on it. We never voted, so we gotta vote on their
Mr.
contract.
Chair, we removed it from the table.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. It felt a whole lot like we approved it.
Yeah.
Now a motion to approve, please.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So ordered. Again. All right, now we move to 8C, which is a motion approving an employment agreement with the Public Works Director, Russell Grego. That is tabled. We need a motion to remove it from the table.
I'll make that motion.
And a second. Moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion is removed from the table. A motion now to approve the agreement would be in order.
So moved.
Mr. Weber, seconded by Mr. Murphy. Discussion. Seeing none, just for the record, Supervisor Grego, because of a conflict of interest or a personal interest, I should say, will not be voting on this. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. We move to item 8D, which is a resolution amending resolution 10-23 concerning mandatory attendance. That motion was tabled. A motion would now be in order to remove it from the table.
So moved.
I'll second it.
And seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. So ordered. The resolution is now before us. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion to approve has been made by Mr. Murphy. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Rich Lukatich. Discussion. Seeing none. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries, so ordered. We move to item E, which is a motion approving an agreement with the Allegheny League of Municipalities to conduct a management search for a township manager. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Move to approve by Mr. Murphy. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Lukatich. Discussion. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. We go to new business. The audit has been taken care of. We go to 9B. An ordinance designating Berry Road and Old Mill Road and Berry Road and the entrance to Strabane Square as three-way stop intersections. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right, a motion to approve and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries, so ordered. 9C is an ordinance establishing the South Strabane Township Department of Fire and Emergency Services. You'll recall that this was discussed at a what do we call those? A non-legislative meeting previously. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Approved and, or moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Seeing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. So ordered. 9D is a resolution granting preliminary and final minor subdivision approval to Ian and Nicole Haley for the Haley Consolidation Plan for a property located at 120 East Point Drive. Is there a
So
motion?
moved.
Moved
Second.
and seconded. Discussion. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Excuse me, the motion carries. Letter E is a resolution granting an extension of time to the Meadows Landing planned residential development.
Mr. Chairperson,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to table this until the escrow account is taken care of.
Thank
By
you.
Meadows
There is a
Landing.
motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So-
Those opposed?
With that, opposed, yeah. With that, Dennis, do you want to advise that, is it revoked or is it told? How do you want to work that?
I think it's the table. Table resolution. So
Well,
basically.
correct, but their year expires tomorrow. So how do we administer that?
Well, what I was gonna, my thought process initially would have been to approve the resolution subject to following conditions. One, that they pay the escrow for 30 days. Two, that there's some type of bonds that you had reference to, because bonds be updated.
Which bonds are those?
I heard Ms. Scavati mention something about bonds. I don't know.
Yeah, the performance bond, and that's what the extension does, is allow another year until fulfill the requirements of the development.
Well, I'm just saying, that would be item number 2. And 3, there's some type of DEP letter. Have we ever received a response from the DEP? Have we ever received a response? I had a situation in another community.
Mhm.
There's a DEP letter saying technical deficiencies. Has the developer ever responded to the DEP or to us about that?
They never started doing anything.
Rob, I don't think he has,
All that DEP stuff is they develop it, they have to meet those criteria.
Okay, so
If
that's
they're
what's-
not developing it, it is what it is. They don't have to meet those.
Is
They
that
don't have to
correct?
meet it.
In order to be granted the permit they applied for, they need
Right.
to address. those
They need to
technical
address it.
deficiencies.
right.
But they aren't deficiencies that need to be addressed in
At
the
this time,
interim.
right?
As the landowner, they don't have to address any of them?
That would have to be something that we would address outside of the DEP. Those deficiencies were in regard to the application for the permit.
Okay.
So
Mr.
they're
Pizzuto,
outside.
the planning committee said they've submitted nothing to them.
I called
They
Andy
asked
Nevins,
for it.
there's
One
not,
second.
nothing done.
So what
Yeah,
question
based upon the statement made earlier, I understand that yet they have a little bit of time to do that, but it's, yeah,
July 10th. is
I
the
haven't
deadline.
This
seen
has
any.
been going on since March.
I have not seen any response.
July 10th is a DEP
All right,
deadline.
the public comment,
See, those are the,
not appropriate.
those are the three issues I would have, is that DEP, engineers, is there something that they have to do right now for that DEP letter?
190
One that,
days.
In order to get their permit, yes, those technical deficiencies were related to the permit.
have they done anything about this
I do
thing?
not believe so.
Have they got a permit?
No,
That they don't have to do, you just said they don't have to do them until they get the permit, correct?
they have to, those deficiencies were in regard to the permit application.
Correct.
So specifically, in regard, so in order to get a permit, they have to address those deficiencies.
Correct. But they haven't got a permit, so they don't have to, until they get the permit.
To get the,
start-
in order to
then they
get
have
the
to-
permit, they have to
address
address
it.
the deficiencies.
So, Mr. Makel, the question before us is, if in fact we table this and there is a calendar ticking that is one day away from a year, what happens? Are we able to table this?
Well, if tomorrow's the last day or whatever, is tomorrow the last day, Brad?
Yeah. Mhm.
They're gonna have to start the process again. But I think Mr. Webb is correct. I think you need to address, how much is owed to us in escrow?
Just short of $10,000. I would recommend that if the board wants to do this, that if they want to extend it for another year because you're gonna get the same thing through a whole nother process, which will take a lot of work and a lot of effort. The idea would be to go ahead, I would recommend going ahead and extending that a year out. And he has to upgrade the escrow or bring it to, replenish the escrow within 30 days. That's the condition.
So what's the debilitating aspect for us if they don't, if we say no?
Well, if you say no, then you say no, that's all. Then he has to go through it all again.
You would think he'd be here.
Is he on Zoom, chief?
Is
I
anyone
know
on
he had
Zoom, by the way?
challenges. He wasn't gonna be able to make it.
Is anyone on Zoom at all?
There's about 10 folks on the road.
Are they,
How Kessler?
Nothing that would indicate that it is.
so the only person with a problem would be the developer.
Yeah, right.
All right,
So there's a motion to table on the floor. So basically.
We've already.
It's already passed.
Passed, 3-2.
it's happened. So I think
They-
barring something illegal or immoral, we move on. I mean, seriously, we have taken the action. If it's an appropriate action, then we move on.
So is it table?
It's tabled.
Table.
Okay, so
It's
the year
tabled, which
that's-
effectively tomorrow is going to cause it to
All
expire.
right, thank you.
All righty, we are on to E, which is a resolution granting I'm sorry, that is the item we just dealt with. We're on to F, a motion authorizing the firefighter hiring process. This is a routine procedure that is done from time to time when the pool of firefighter applicants gets depleted or diminished. And the chief has asked us to do this, and I would entertain a motion to approve it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. That motion carries. A motion directing the solicitor to work with staff to review the township driveway and street excavation ordinance. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Moved.
I'll second.
Grego seconds. Discussion. This basically is an attempt to clean up some verbiage in the ordinance that Mr. Grego noticed was possibly not appropriate. So we'll be taking a look at it, cleaning up the verbiage and bringing it back at a future date. Item H, a resolution amending the township's 2023 Community Development Block Grants Fund authorization. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, before we vote on that, Mr. Stanek, would you explain what the change would be?
So we are eligible for 75,000 for our upcoming CDBG funding, and that is to improve ADA accessibility for the Pancake Fire Station along Route 40.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. You're on aye. A motion awarding a contract for Public Works uniform supplier to model uniforms. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Seeing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Item J, a motion amending the Township Police Department Policy and Procedure Manual regarding motor vehicle pursuits. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Move to approve and second, discussion. Seeing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. That motion carries. Item K, a motion approving the township's general liability insurance renewal for the 2023-2024 period. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the renewal. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. So ordered. L, a motion accepting the resignation of the township manager. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded. There was some debate earlier if we didn't approve this, whether he was stuck here, and we talked about the holding cell over at the jail. I mean, there was a pretty good discussion about this, but it unfortunately didn't work out so well. Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Jeff, get on the free card now.
Those opposed, the same sign. The motion passes with a certain degree of reluctance. Item M, a motion appointing a township manager interview committee. As you probably know, we've hired a consulting company to help us find a manager, and this is a motion to appoint two of the supervisors to sort of handle the first phase of that, and then ultimately the decision regarding a interview and a hiring of a manager will be up to all five. But what is the motion, gentlemen?
I'll make a motion that Mr. Weber and Mr. Burns be appointed to the interview committee.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. That motion carries. And last but not least, we have a motion appointing interim township positions. Mr. Stanley, could you review those for us, please?
So presented for the board's consideration to motion with interim positions effective July 24th, 2023 for the following. Marie Kaufman as interim bank account administrator, Marie Kaufman as interim pension administrator, Scott Heckman as interim zoning officer, Troy Lucas as interim assistant zoning officer, Marie Kaufman as interim Washington County Tax Collection District representative, Jordan Kramer as interim Washington County Tax Collection District alternative, Scott Heckman as interim Washington County Sewage Council representative, Troy Lucas as interim Washington County Sewage Council alternate.
Right, and that is to fill the void created by the manager leaving before a new manager is here. So it just assures that we have a management structure in place. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded discussion. Seeing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. That motion carries. A motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Dr. Weber loves this motion. Moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. We stand adjourned. Thank you for attending.
Good job.